If you have pain in your hips, especially in the front and in the side of the hips, look no further, because I have some great exercises for you that will help you eliminate that hip pain or tightness that you're feeling. I'm Eva Benes of PainFree for Life Pilates.com, located in San Diego, California, and I'm here today to show you some of my favorite hip stretches and strengthening exercises. First of all, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for weekly content on how to eliminate chronic pain without the use of drugs and surgery, and how to improve your strength, flexibility and mobility. When your hips are hurting, your whole body is affected because the hips are such a major junction in the body. The pain could radiate into your groin, down into your legs, or up into your lower back, and you slowly start cutting back from activities that could potentially bother your back, for example, walking, hiking, jogging, traveling, you name it. I don't want you to have to cut back from activities. I want you to stay strong and fit and enjoy your life. So let's work on these limitations that you're experiencing in your hips. First of all, a lot of times when people have hip issues, pain, tightness, they have limited range of motion. They usually feel limited into hip extension, external rotation, internal rotation, or hip flexion is a little bit compromised. So we are going to address all these movements in the hips. Also, I will highlight some of the most common mistakes that people do when they do these exercises, just so you can avoid them. And also at the very end of the video, so please be sure that you stay with me until the very end, I'm gonna have a really easy and simple solution for you so you can maintain your hips and keep them in good shape so they don't hurt. I'm going to use a yoga block for the exercises. If you don't have one at home, you can just use a pillow. First of all, let's lay down on our back. And just place that block in between your knees. Walk your feet apart on your mat so your feet are wider apart than your knees. Then go ahead and tuck your pelvis under and lift your hips up into a bridge. Squeeze the block as you hold your hips lifted. Then lower down, and let's repeat these a couple more times. So just tuck the pelvis under, lift up, press the hips up so you get a nice opening on the front of the hips. One common mistake is pressing the stomach out and overarching the lower back. Don't do that, just bring your body to a straight line. Also squeeze that block, that will help increase internal hip rotation. And lower down. I see it very often that internal rotation of the hips is very limited, or those internal hip rotators are very deconditioned. We want to get them nice and strong, so internal rotation is not a challenge for your hips. You can go ahead and lower your hips down. We're just gonna put that yoga block to the side now. Extend your left leg out on your mat. Bring your right leg close to your body. And then let's externally rotate that hip, meaning that you want to turn your knee out, and then rotate the knee inwards, so now you're internally rotating your hip. Let's go into external and into internal hip rotation. And we'll do these just one more time, and we'll switch to the second side. So just bring your knee up, rotate your hip out, and in. You may feel that one of the hips moves a little bit less than the other, so just try and balance out your hips. Make sure that they are working evenly. We'll do one more of these. If your internal hip rotators are really weak, you may even feel a cramp coming on. Just stretch it out and practice the movement a few more times. Let's put the block in between the knees now. You're going to lift your hips up into a bridge again. Just make sure you avoid that overextension in the back so the tummy is nice and strong, and you're just using the back of the hips for the extension. Then raise your left arm and roll over the back of the right arm and the shoulder, and just reach nice and far. Squeeze the block in between your knees. Be sure you don't lose that yoga block. Now we'll go to the other side. Hips are lifting, you're squeezing the block, and reach the other way. And we'll do this a couple more times on each side. Lift the hips, raise the arm, reach over nice and far. This will also help mobilize your thoracic spine, which is a nice bonus. Lift, right arm reaches to the left. And let's do one more on each side because it feels really good. And a last one. Okay, now we are coming up on the knees, on the hands and the knees in a quadruped position, and let's explore range of motion in our hips. First we come into flexion, then we go up to the side into abduction, we come into extension, and then back down to flexion. Let's take it out to the side to abduction, back to extension. We could even bring it a little bit towards the left, which takes us into adduction, and then back to flexion. And let's do this one more time. Up to the side and to the back, and a little bit across the midline and back down. Now let's do it on the second side. So my left knee is lifting up to the side. It's going back until my hip is in extension. I bring it down a little bit under my stomach, up to the side and in the back. Now let's come a little bit across the midline so we work those adductors as well. We are coming into flexion, up to the side into abduction. We are going to the back into extension, a little bit towards the right so we come into adduction. We are taking that hip joint through all the movements that it's able to perform. The one movement that is the hardest for you, or any part of this movement, if you feel like it's challenging, you need to practice that because that's where your problem zone is. Now let's give the hips a nice stretch. So I'm going to move that yoga block underneath my right knee, and then I'll bring my left knee over the right, and I push back a little bit and a little bit up to the side, and it just deliciously opens up the side of the hip right where you have all that tightness. Let's do it on the other side. Of course, you feel free to hold the stretch as long as it feels good. So we're just gonna bring that right knee over the left leg and try and touch it down onto your mat. Push your hip up to the side. It's really beneficial to do this stretch with that yoga block underneath the knee because it provides a much deeper stretch than doing it without the yoga block. But of course you can always try and see how that feels. Once you got a delicious stretch, you can let it go. And these were the exercises today that will help restore your hip function and make your hip pain go away. If you enjoyed these exercises and you would like a complete program on how to strengthen your hips and how to stretch and just create better mobility, better movement in the hip joints, visit my website at www.painfreeforlifepilates.com. If you click on my shop tab, you find a number of home programs under the shop tab. You want to choose the flexibility and mobility program that will give you some really nice stretches. Those exercises will keep your hips nice and lubricated. And bonus is they don't only focus on the hips but on the entire body. So this would be my suggestion for you if you want to eliminate hip pain and tightness for good, that purchase this stretching program on my website, because that way you can make sure that your hip pain never returns. Also, if you would like more personalized guidance on how to improve your mobility, how to eliminate chronic pain, and you would like to work with me, schedule a free 15-minute phone consultation with me through my website, and that's going to be a great step to get you healthier and stronger. While you're on my website, make sure that you sign up for my newsletters because you will receive discounts and coupons in the newsletters for my home programs, and also you'll get the weekly content on my YouTube channel. For more information or how I work with my clients and how I can help you with your chronic pain, visit my website www.painfreeforlifepilates.com. Thank you for joining me today.